Welcome to Philosophy for a Small Planet. This channel is a place to talk about ethics and political philosophy grounded in the basic premise that we all have to share the same planet. I think this simple statement actually implies some pretty radical things. Why? Let's take it piece by piece. What do I mean by we all? To start with, we all includes all human beings. Yes, every single one. Luckily, that's not a super radical claim anymore, at least in theory. But plenty of philosophers, not to mention politicians, have found all kinds of ways to make exceptions. Because truly putting this principle into practice would entail some pretty serious changes to how the world works. What is a bit more radical is that when I say we all have to share the same planet, I mean all living beings on Earth. Most theories of ethics and political philosophies confine themselves to relations between human beings. But human beings can't survive without our myriad relationships with non-human living beings. And it's becoming increasingly urgent that we think through what kind of relationships those need to be. We live in a time of tremendous biodiversity loss. So much that many scientists are calling it the 6th mass extinction event in the history of the planet Earth. Even if we placed zero value on non-human lives, this would still be an immense threat to lots of stuff that we value in human life. And I don't think zero is the right amount of value to place on non-human lives. But how should we value them? Theories of ethics developed for the human sphere often don't translate directly to relations between humans and non-humans. So the issue of how to incorporate non-human lives into our ethics and politics is one question I hope to explore on this channel. Now let's move on to the next two words, have to. Have to is not an ethical commandment here. It's a practical necessity. Problems like climate change, ocean acidification, pollution, habitat destruction, and soil and aquifer depletion can't be solved unilaterally by any one group of people. These issues impact all of us. Have to means that in order to pursue any of our other ends, diverse and sometimes conflicting as they are, we must figure out a way to collaborate in taking care of the planet that we're pursuing them on. Now, on to the last part of the sentence. Share the same planet. Most political philosophy confines itself to relations within a defined political community, a polis in Greek. That made a certain amount of sense in the ancient Greek world of city-states, where it was hard to affect much outside of your own polis. However, there's a countervailing concept which also goes back to ancient Greece, though not only there. Cosmopolitanism, the idea that the entire world is the political community. For most of history, cosmopolitanism has been a lofty ideal with limited practical application. Now, it is an inescapable reality. I can communicate with people in China, Botswana, or Australia just as easily as I can communicate with somebody in the next state over here in the US. And as I already said, we're affected by many of the same problems and bear a shared responsibility for solving them. But that brings me to the last point I want to make. Just because we all have to share the planet we're living on, that doesn't mean we have to all be the same. It means that we have to figure out how to live together despite our many differences. And not just that, we need to learn from all of the many cultures and traditions that exist on our little blue-green marble. To face the challenges that are in front of humanity right now, we need all of the knowledge and wisdom we can get. And we can't just assume that our own cultural tradition has all of it. So another thing I hope to do here is look into philosophical traditions from around the world. But I don't think the multiplicity of values in our world warrants a complete moral relativism that would make it impossible to make any kind of overarching ethical claims at all. Which is why another idea that I'll talk about on this channel is ethical pluralism. How we can say that some behaviors are definitely not cool without having to proclaim a single correct way of living that must be imposed on everyone at all times. I'm not a professional philosopher. I don't even have a degree in philosophy. I'm just a guy who's interested in this stuff. I'm still learning about all this, and as I read, I'll make videos about what I'm reading and what I think about it. This channel is my own exploration into ideas that are important to me. And I'm putting it on YouTube because I think they might be important to other people too. If these kinds of ideas are important to you, then I welcome you to come on the journey with me. The best way to do that is to hit the subscribe button and then click the little bell so that you can get notified every time I post a new video. And if you liked this video, there's a button for that as well. All right, thanks for watching, and be excellent to each other.